Does your child whine and cry over the smallest things? Are you worried that they're going to get picked on and bullied or just struggle in general when things don't go their way? In this video, I'm here to tell you how to build your child's emotional resilience. And make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to be giving away a free $30 guide packed with key strategies. You don't want to miss it. I'm Lisa, a child behavior expert and a parent coach. I have over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. I've worked with hundreds of families who have been struggling with their child's challenging behaviors, many of which have different diagnoses like autism, ADHD, sensory processing challenges, and developmental delays. Many of the families I've worked with have really sensitive kids or who just struggle with their big emotions. Parents were so unsure of what to do to help them build that confidence and resilience. Working with me equipped them with what they needed to do in that moment to help them thrive. So in this video, I want to share with you what those key tips are. If you've liked this video so far, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. So your child might be whining and crying over the smallest things. They're trying to build their tower and it falls to the floor and they just start complaining, whining, calling you over to help them. This can feel really frustrating, especially if it's happening over and over again. Or maybe your child is expecting something. They want their favorite cup, but it's in the dishwasher, it's dirty, and you're giving them a purple cup instead. This throws them completely off course and they have a meltdown for 30 minutes and you're standing there wondering, what do I do? How do I help my child work through these emotions and end these tantrums? Because your child whines and cries over every little thing, you worry how this is going to impact them socially. When they're at school, when they're in social gatherings, the other kids are starting to notice that your child is always whining. They're pointing it out. They're saying things like, that kid is so annoying, right? And they're walking away from your child. And you can see the pain that's on your child's face when nobody wants to play with them. And public outings might feel like the most impossible things to do with your child because you know if you take them to the grocery store, you take them to the mall, there's likely going to be a meltdown. And this can feel so frustrating and so annoying and such a hindrance to your lifestyle. So you are wondering now, how do I help my child work through these emotions and help them to become more strong and more confident in themselves? These are all valid questions and we are going to get into the steps on raising an emotionally resilient child. Number one is help your child find their confident voice. So when they're whining, they're crying, they're complaining, it's coming from a place of frustration. They feel like they cannot do something and they don't know how to sit in that frustration. So it comes out as whining and complaining, hoping that you're going to come and save them. So if our kid is whining and complaining and we approach them and we just say, well, what's wrong? How can I help you? And we don't actually teach them and help them become aware of how their voice actually sounds, they will never know and they will never change it. So we want to bring awareness to them to help them understand that their voice is sounding whiny, but we want to do this in a way that doesn't come off as harsh and we want to approach it in a very neutral way. So we don't want to say something like, your voice is really whiny, it's really annoying, you need to stop. That will come off as very judgmental and may make your child feel a lot of shame and guilt for speaking in that way. Instead, you can say something like, I know you really wanted that, but right now I can't understand you. Can you try to speak in your regular voice? What that does, it tells them, it helps to bring awareness to their voice and that you couldn't understand them. And you are making a suggestion to speak in a regular voice, which is something that they know how to do. So you're setting an expectation for them in order for them to recognize that the voice that they used is not expected and a regular voice is an expected tone to use instead. Another way to put it is you can say, it sounds like something is really upsetting you right now. Let's take a deep breath. And why don't you tell it to me in your confident voice? So number two is recognizing your role as a parent, right? We have to recognize that we have a lot of power in terms of how we influence our children in building resiliency and confidence. When our kids are whining because something was very frustrating to them, they felt really disappointed over something, it's natural for us as parents to want to just jump right in, swoop in, save them from their problems, from their feelings, and just do the thing for them. But when we do that, we actually take away an opportunity for them to build self-esteem, confidence, and resilience, because that's all built through learning how to work through hard things, to work through feelings of frustration, and to not just crumble in that feeling and then just go, Mommy, Daddy, I need help, right? Like, we want our kids to learn to find their inner strength and to work through that. So if we are swooping in, we're not giving them that opportunity to figure this out. So an example, if your child is trying to work on their math homework and they're whining, they're complaining, saying, oh, it's so hard, I don't want to do this. Or maybe they just like flat out start crying, and you come over to them and you go, oh, honey, okay, let me see what's going on here. Let me help you. And, once they see that you're helping them, they just start like leaning over, and then you end up doing the work for them, right? But that doesn't teach them anything. If you just jump in, you problem solve it for them. So what we do instead in those moments is we validate the frustration that they're feeling, right? When they're whining and they're crying, we tell them that it's hard. I get it. Having this math problem that is really tricky can feel very frustrating. And that's going to help teach them the words to say to you next time, rather than just using a whiny voice. They can say to you, Mom, I'm feeling frustrated. This math homework is hard, right? So now you're actually modeling to them what it is that they could be saying to you. After you validated their feelings and how it's hard, you're there to give them support, but you're not there to do the thing for them. So if they're struggling with that math homework, you sit and talk to them about, well, what about this feels the most hard? Is it that the problem feels very long? Well, why don't we break it down for you? And we only just focus on the first part of that question. You're breaking things down for them so that it feels more manageable for them, it feels more doable, and it gives them the confidence that they can actually tackle it on their own. Now, the third is helping your child build emotional regulation skills. This is a skill that helps you manage those big feelings and emotions. So I mentioned this already, that when your child is experiencing frustration, helping them to become more aware of that feeling. You're feeling frustrated or you're feeling upset in this moment, and that's okay. You're validating their feeling, but you're giving them the words that they don't yet know how to label themselves. And this actually teaches them how to understand their feelings a lot more and be more in tune with themselves. And then the next part in this is teaching them how to find coping strategies for themselves, right? Because in life, there are going to be really tough things that are going to be thrown in your child's life. And to be resilient, it's knowing how you feel in that moment, but also having the right tools to help you out in that moment. So if your child is feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling stressed about something, what can they do in those moments to help them feel more calm and in control? So teaching them these skills is absolutely critical, really helping them to identify what's the thing that makes you feel good when you feel upset or frustrated. Is it to lay on the ground, close your eyes, and just take some deep breaths? Is it to go into your little calming corner, turn off all the lights, and listen to some calming music? Maybe it's taking some stress balls and just like smacking it down on the floor, right? Utilizing different sensory inputs can be very calming and regulating. Our kids don't know how to do this, and we need to explicitly help them figure out what are these tools that they can put in their toolbox, so that when things get hard, they can whip that out themselves, and they'll just know what to do when they are not feeling good, when they are feeling frustrated. This helps them to be more self-reliant and less dependent on you to help them calm down in the long term. The final thing about resilience is that our kids learn the skill of resilience through watching us as parents on how we handle our own stress. So if things are really tough in our lives, where we are stressed out because of work commitments, of all the household duties we're doing, and yes, those things can be very stressful, but how do we show how we handle that stress? Do we yell at our partners because we're just overwhelmed? Do we start throwing things around because we just got triggered by something? Well, if we are demonstrating this type of behavior, our kids will pick up on that. And so we need to do some inner reflection, like what are we doing that's showing that we are resilient to the ups and downs in life? Do we have our own coping strategies to handle those stressful moments, right? Figuring that stuff out for yourself is actually the number one thing you should be doing, because your kids will always mimic and follow whatever you are doing, because you are the leader in your child's home, and how you go about handling life, handling your emotions and your behaviors is how your child will learn to do the same. So these steps might have sounded really simple, but in reality, it takes a lot of intention for you to implement this into your day-to-day life. And this is why I created my guide, Raising Resilience, to help empower you with the knowledge and the step-by-step on how you can raise an emotionally resilient child. So like I promised at the beginning of this video, I'm giving this $30 guide for free. I have linked the download in the description box, so make sure you check that out and you sign up for that. I hope you liked this video and found it helpful. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and also share this video with another parent who needs to hear this message. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.